Hi, this is Simpe from the Center for Risk Analysis. And a popular question that we receive from our clients in exclusive briefings is, what's next for South Africa after the ANC? Now, the answer is not so clear-cut, as the South African voting base tends to be more moderate and conservative with their vote. This means that it is not merely a matter of DA or EFF leading the country into the future. Stay and watch further as Dr. Frans Cronje unpacks this further.
The second question we get is, well, okay, if it's not the ANC, then sort of is it the DA or the EFF? And we're not sure whether it's going to be either of those. The DA's had a very hard time over the past several years. It missed the great window of opportunity, which was the peak of the Zuma era. It risked the epitaph becoming the party that never missed an opportunity to miss an opportunity. Subsequently, efforts are being made to correct a lot of that, but it will be hard and slow going. The economic freedom fighters, we don't think are as popular as the media suggests. Polling, we'll do another one of these, David, I think, webinars where we must do that polling on public sentiment and opinion, and the extent to which people are much more moderate than Twitter or the media suggests they are. And our polling over many years shows that South Africans are much more centrist and moderate, retain much more respect for each other across every fissure of society than Twitter would ever let you believe. And on the EFF, it gets 10% of the vote in a country where more than half of young black people don't have a job. And is that 10% then a comment on the strength of the EFF, or is it in fact a comment on the great magnanimity of so many young black South Africans who screwed over under the old administration, haven't had a serious shot under the new one, but have not turned en masse to radical populism? So I think the EFF is weaker than it appears. And one of those answers to clients when they say, well, if it's not the ANC, is it the DA or the EFF, is to say that both the DA and the EFF will be very important, have played very important roles should the ANC support fall below 50%, as we anticipate it might. But in the longer run, the movement, group, organization, party, people who run South Africa may be something that does not exist at the moment. It may be profoundly new and different. And I've done this stuff for a number of years, and I think we have failed our clients in one respect, which is we never really forced them, you can't really, but you might have tried harder, to consider the consequences of unanticipated events. We made the call on Mbeki's departure. I remember that, because I was a younger analyst then. I don't think we ever convinced our clients it was going to happen. We did make the call on Mr. Ramaphosa beating Zuma at a time when we had a lot of pushback on the unlikelihood of that. And when we said that even if he does beat him, he's unlikely to drive reform, we became very unpopular, even amongst the clients. I often use the example of South Africa, where at the height of the death of apartheid, middle of the 1980s, when P.W. Botha delivered his Rubicon speech. And he said in that speech, quote, "I will not lead white South Africa down the path of abdication and suicide." That was August of 1985. If you'd attended a webinar then, not that there were webinars, but the equivalent, and an analyst had said to you, for all you can see about the National Party, what Botha said last night, the Cold War on the go, liberation movements in prison and exile, within a decade, the last leader of the National Party, that one, will have been succeeded by a man who would become the tourism minister in an ANC cabinet. It would have been unbelievable. And it is what occurred. Now, our sense is therefore this, to answer the question in a straightforward manner. The ANC is defeated. 2024, maybe 2029. I don't see it holding out much beyond that. Its defeat triggers an era of coalition politics. And coalitions will be a bit shambolic. They tend to be it's bringing Port Elizabeth's political machinations to the union buildings. And in that era of coalition, all hope will be lost in the prospects of a party movement, the ANC, Mr. Ramaphosa, to lead real reform. And that's quite an important point to reach for hope to be lost, because often that hope, particularly if it's a false hope, simply prolongs a painful period of decline, which I think is happening now and has been the case since Nasrec. And if that moment is reached, all hope is lost, number one. So not a bad thing, as you'll see in a minute. Number two, a vast amount of money is put behind a new political alternative. Because politics and money go together. It's crass, but it's true. You've got enough, you can do terribly well. And the third thing is that political alternative resonates with public opinion, which is more center and center-right than newspapers in South Africa or Twitter will make one believe. Then there is the opportunity, through the end of this decade, of the rise of a brand new political outfit that will lead South Africa with great success into the 2030s and beyond that.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to our channel. To become a client of the CRA, you can follow the link in the description box below.